Over here on the east side of the map, as the Zerg Millennium, Stephano, he had such a great start in that last game. I felt like he read his opponent well. He kind of went with what his gut was telling him, but a few of those engagements a bit questionable. Let's see if he maybe turns it around for himself here in game number 2. Over on the west side of the map, as the blue Terran from Slayers, I'll tell you what, worried for him at the beginning of that game, taking that third command center, like, whoa, I think you might be setting yourself up for failure, but he really, really brought it back and played so nicely. It is Slayers, Ryung, and the other thing that was so great about Ryung's play is that he was so meticulous about splitting his army. He never really had them, other than at the end when it got a little hectic, in a ball. He never took that great fungal, you know, he never took it.
He never had one of those. You're
like
so right.
5 or 6 units, but never that 20 unit hit.
He also really impressed me with, I mean, I've been casting a lot of games recently of foreign players, for example, more often, and Koreans are generally pretty good about knocking a supply block, but I never saw Ryung supply block. His SCV production was just uncontested. Like, Stephano did that big attack, he killed 12 SCVs, and I looked and I was like, I think Ryung's still up 1 SCV now after that. So, I mean, that alone, he got the fast third command center and used it. I mean, really used it. And that's how you can get ahead in a game like this. I mean, even after the Queen patch, you could see his Hellions weren't able to do as much as he wanted, but he used them still. He got the Blue Flame, as Apollo mentioned. And that was something, he had so many different ways of playing, like skipping siege tanks, that I feel like Stephano kind of struggled to deal with. He was like, well, I didn't expect him to have this much bio. I expected him to have more tanks, and I thought maybe I could drop some Vested Terrans to draw a tank fire and then do more here, but I couldn't.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we saw him do, is he fired off those preemptive infested Terrans, and then nothing happened. The bunkers fired at them, and he just kind of moved in and went for it. So I'm really, really going to be curious to see, because now that we're on Metropolis, we have a split map potential here as being cross-position. There's a lot of drop potential on Ryung's side, so very excited to see exactly how this one is going to go down. Stephano did start with a hatch first. We're going to see a low ground CC for his opponent as well, and here Ryung is going to scout his opponent, see that the hatch is about ready to finish, and he did go gas and then pool shortly thereafter, so he will be able to get his speed at a relatively good rate. But I like this opening from Ryung. You know, it's simple, it's well, it's pretty standard at this point, but will he go with another quick third? You know, that's something that that's just kind of...
It's a little bit different on this map. To take the quick third, if you don't kill the rocks, your third is not only a little bit further away, but it's very exposed to your opponent and very difficult for you to reach. You can't send Marines over to defend it very well, so he's going to have to kill those rocks. He probably won't be able to take a fast third here. He may make the third command center, though. That may be something he does. Make the command center, move it over later. That's something we've been seeing a lot of Terrans like Thorazane do quite often recently. He is double gassing after his 1-Rax expand, so very likely be going into Reactor Hellion expand again. This is a pretty good map for that, even with Queens, because it's a little bit more difficult for the Zerg to spread the creep over to that third base. He's going to have to kill those rocks, for example. So we'll see what the plan is here. I mean, I think he's definitely going to do it. There's the factory going down here. What will Stephano do, though? Will we see him go for that double upgrade and faster style again? That's something I think is very likely that we will see from him. But it's not even necessarily going to be the case. It's the Stephano way.
And will we see him with a little bit later third? You know, does he want to be caught in a similar situation? You know, on this map, because it might be the fourth base is going to be a little bit easier for Stephano to take. He's not going to have to choose between, you know, do I go that far northeast one or do I take that gold in the middle? I mean, this kind of like changes things up a little bit. He is going to get this SCV that these Zerglings have been nibbling away on here for a little while, and speed is about ready to finish. Now, we still only have the 1 gas, but Stephano never stopped with gas, so the Roach Warren goes down. And this could be that, you know, sort of defensive, get those few roaches out, or we could see, you know, something a little bit more aggressive. But just off of 1 gas, I'm guessing he's just going to get a few roaches and be able to hold off those Reactor Hellions.
He is now, though, taking a 2nd gas at his natural, and I wonder if he's... This is kind of a cool thing a lot of Zergs have been doing recently, where they take their gas to their natural. So if Hellions come and scout, it looks like maybe he took 4 gases. You're not sure. He may put some Roach Baneling aggression on, but it doesn't look like it. He's taking a third base now. I think you're right in your intuition here that he's just going to be using these Roaches purely defensively, just going to make a few, because that's something Stephano has done in the past. There's the 3. You know, you talked about even before the series began, really, that he loves to just make the 3 Roaches, even after the patch. He's still doing it. Now taking his additional 3rd and 4th gases, and there are the Stephano double E-base, or evolution chambers.
Now we do have, and we have the two the two engineering bays going up over. You threw me off there, Wolf, going up over in Ryung's side, and also he's just stayed on the 1 racks at this point, getting stim. He's now going to build rack on top of that reactor and throw a 3rd one down. So he's going with a very similar style to what he went with last time. So, will we see pretty much the same kind of thing? Drops could be much more effective, too, on this map. Of course, Stephano has shown that he is a master of defending those types of things, so we'll have to see exactly what happens. But Lair has begun, and we are starting to go into a game that looks oddly familiar like the last one, with the exception of that 3rd is down a lot quicker for Stephano.
Yeah, you're right. The 3rd is down faster. He is making the macro hatch as well. It's like everything about this game is very similar to what the last one was, except he's getting the 3rd faster. Everything else, the double upgrades. Another thing is he's actually making more roaches here. He's now making 5 additional roaches. It's going to put him up to a total of 9. And I don't think, again, that he's going to be committing heavily to roach play here, but going up to this many roaches at this stage of the game means that he is a little bit worried about the Hellions. Roaches don't serve much of a purpose against bio play because the DPS of the units, especially with Medivacs healing them, will just always be better than the roaches. The roaches can never really kill Marines and Marauders quickly enough because they just fire too fast. Back at home for Ryung, though, he does have that 3rd command center. He's going to land it. He's adding 3 additional barracks here, really powering up to that heavy bio composition. And I think with that 3rd command center landing, he's going to start putting on some pressure. He's going to start scanning, killing creep. He's going to continue his upgrades and start fighting. We're going to have to see some engagements in the middle. How will Stephano deal with those? He's going for Infestor Tech again. His upgrades are decently timed here. He's going to be about on even upgrades with Ryung. So again, it's going to come down to the micro, the unit splitting from Ryung. How well will he do it? This game is going to play out very similarly to the last one. The only difference is, though, there's no key center point this time, so it's going to be a little bit more spread out.
Yeah, we do have this first initial group moving out while the initial medevacs are being built over in Ryung's base. He's going to just try to work on this roach. He does finally take it out. And Millennium Stephano does have one of the rocks taken down with access to his 3rd, but not the one that separates his natural. And hold on, the Lings are possibly going to go in for an attack here. The Roaches, unfortunately, are trailing behind, and he might have attacked a little too early there. He is going to be forced to retreat back. There's a few more Lings going to move in here, but without Roach speed, these units are going to be able to get away, and he's got to be careful not to get too far off that creep. I feel like maybe a little bit too early there with the Lings. If he could have gotten the surround right as the Roaches came in, could have been very nice for him.
Yeah, it really could have. I mean, you could see the Roach, just few Roaches being mixed in here is actually making a little bit of difference. It made that push stop dead in its tracks. It was like, wait a minute, what is this? He has a lot of Roaches. I can't actually fight this with this small army that I have. I don't have my medevacs out with this army quite yet. Now he's scanning and killing creep tumors in the middle of the map. This is something that I mentioned before. It's actually just the next logical step for Ryung because he can't kill his opponent. His drop play is going to be decently effective. Look at how fast the Hive is here for Stephano, though, on 3 bases. He's now taking 2 additional hatcheries here, but super fast Hive. His Spire is on the way as well. Looks like he wants to get Broodlords out ASAP. I mean, he could potentially have like an 18-minute Broodlord out.
I actually like that decision, but hold on, we got a huge drop inside the main. A few Lings inside. Oh, right as the Infestors go. A beautiful Fungal, and he saves both of the Infestors. That could not have worked out for him any better. However, what did he lose?
He lost his spawning pool. And that's, you know, losing your spawning pool in this type of situation is actually fine because you killed 2 dropships full of units. Your opponent is not going to have a real timing unlock there as units are all the way across the map. He does force a cancel with this 2nd drop, though, and that's really important to note because had he gotten both of those hatcheries up immediately, Ryung would have been in a really tough spot. But again, this is what I mentioned last game. If you're Stephano, can you really take these bases on the edge of the map? Your opponent's just going to drop them over and over again. We already see Ryung doing a 2nd drop, forces a 2nd cancel on that hatchery at the north. He could just do this forever with no mutas out.
Yeah, and that's one thing that you concede if you do not go with mutas. And we are going to have +2 finishing up here, and with these Roaches especially, this might actually turn out to be quite good. If he lands a Fungal even on this little bit of units, he actually might have enough to just kind of walk forward and do a lot of damage here. I feel like Ryung's got to be very, very careful. He only only has that single medevac as well.
Yeah, if Stephano actually caught that first group, he would have crushed it. Now with the second group there, it's not going to be very comfortable for Stephano to engage. He can still do it, but it would have been such a better fight for him. Now he's moving a little bit maybe too far forward. I think he wants to catch his group of units. He wants to test the waters a little bit here. He does remake the hatchery at the north a third time now, but it will be dropped yet again. And very likely he will have to cancel it yet again. This is Ryung just showing great multitasking at the north. There he goes. Boom, no cancel this time.
He caught him off guard, and he's going to try to take it out this time, but a quick pickup should be all he needs. Now, meanwhile, Ryung is moving up the left side of the map.
He's basically doing a split push here. He's actually forcing the units back to the hatchery, then moving up, killing creep, and repeating the process. But now this engagement is going to be decent for Stephano, who has roaches even on the high ground. A great concave here, and the roaches are actually, with infestor support, able to tear through here. This is a very unusual Zerg composition to have. You very rarely see roaches in the mix like this. He doesn't even have any attack upgrades on the roaches, but they're able to just do that extra DPS to finish off the Marines that have been fungled.
I'm actually quite impressed at how well it seems to be doing right now.
Man.
And of course, you know, when these roaches actually have +2 carapace as well, it's going to take a little while for those Marines to actually get them down. Another drop attempt here with only one Marine getting away in the northwest. But keep in mind that that hatchery, it's going to go down again. There's one Marine there to deny it. And this is just this hatchery's worst day over here. And, you know, it's so much action's been going on over on this side of the map as we're going to see this likely cleaned up, no problem. What do we have going on? Remember that later game transition over to tanks. It is starting to happen right now here for Ryung, but this is going to coincide with a much earlier Broodlord, right?
This is really scary. You know, I predicted about 18 minutes, but he's got him out at 16:30. They're already here. I mean, if you look at the units lost tab, you can actually see that the engagements have been better for Stephano. That's actually so rare in this matchup. That means he's been using those infestors so well, he has not really been losing them. He's been able to kill Ryung's army and hold it back. He forces the cancel again.
Oh, wow.
But Ryung has just not been able to do as much damage, and he didn't have to spend extra gas to remake his infestors. So as a result, he's actually been able to use that gas on something else. This drop in the main, pretty effective here. I want to note, though, that back in Ryung's base, he's making 2 additional starports and getting the Vikings out. He's desperately trying to prepare here.
Yeah, and you know what? In that last game, he was caught a little bit earlier, you know, with basically no Vikings, and then he used those corruptors to clean them up. And this time, I don't know that Stephano's going to be that lucky to be able to just get a preemptive hit on some of those Vikings. But we do have. There's the scan.
He's doing it
this
again.
This base is never going to go up ever.
I think this is now the 6th time he will have to cancel this expansion.
What a great attention to detail. I mean, really, like, I'm going to make sure my opponent never gets this. And
he's actually just so good at doing that because he knows if that base gets up, that's going to be a problem for him. But he's able to consistently deny it with no Mutalists out. He knows the creep isn't spread over there. Why? He's killed a ton of it. He's been consistently going over there with his army. He's like, well, I'm just going to do this over and over again. It doesn't cost me anything, and every time my units will escape, or if they don't escape, I will at least get the hatchery. He commits enough. Stephano right now has a ton of resources banked up in minerals, but not as much gas. He's still, though, got this almost death ball Zerg army. He's got a decent amount of corruptors to support his broodlords as well as the infestors. Now he's getting Neural. He's getting Burrow as Burrow's finishing up. He's adding a lot of spines, almost playing this like a ZVP in a lot of ways. He wants to secure that base. He needs another mining base right now to feel comfortable against what Ryung is doing.
We have 3 Ghost Academies going up.
Yeah, he's going to be going into nuke play from here.
Yep, that'll be quite interesting as we have, this time he catches the dropship. He does get a fungal off, has a lot of units there. We'll get rid of both of these medevacs
nice
as well.
Trap by Stephano, knowing that Ryung was going to do that. I mean, it became predictable that he's going to drop that location, so he set up a trap. Now, right now we have 3 nukes in production as well as the Mobius reactor. This is going to be interesting. This is something that we very rarely see, but when you do see it, things often become very difficult for the Zerg because the Ghost play actually allows the Terran to control the map so well.
Right. And you know, with no, I don't think we have a Baneling Nest at all here for Stephano after not having much luck with those. He is going to throw up another macro hatch. There is going to be attack here on the 4th, and this army largely out of position. He's going to be able to get this, and that is even bigger considering that he has denied this base so many times. Several ghosts are coming out, and so Ryung has, I guess, plan B inside the main as well. A huge drop.
Yeah, this is incredible, man. His multitasking here is so good. He's trying to pick Stephano apart limb from limb. At this point, his army, though, in the middle of the map is only enough to ever kill some creep tumors and then run away. He's actually doing this double harass where he harasses the main and then harasses the tumors, but never actually hits the heart of Stephano's army. That's why Stephano's been able to keep such a great... he's been so cost efficient with his infestors. He's lost very few of them.
Right.
Because he's never really losing units. He's losing hatcheries. He's not getting the money he wants.
Right. And he actually has 16, actually make that 15 now because another one morphed into a Broodlord. 16 Corruptors out on the map. And, well, guess what? There are
14
actually,
Vikings.
Yeah, there are a lot of Vikings, so he's got to be careful about this. I do like Stephano sending out these groups of roaches. Now, this one's going to get cleaned up quite easily, but he had another group earlier. Actually, he goes ahead and burrows them, which I like as well, that he was just using to scout, pick off a few units, take out the Hellions, which, you know, are good at this stage of the game, and then you free up that supply for, obviously, more Broodlords, more Ultras as well. But Stephano's army's looking really nice. His air upgrades are up to 1-1 now. He's going 2-2 air. I'm not sure where Ryung is right now. He's only getting, he hasn't even begun his air upgrades
no
yet.
upgrades for his air whatsoever, but the Ghosts are out, Wheat. They are moving forward here. How will they be used? The first Ghost cloaks in here, but he's going alone. I mean, he's got 2 Ghost buddies, but he EMPs all of the infestors, and this is actually a great moment here. He's not even going to be using these for nukes right now. He's actually dropping 1 nuke, kind of in an odd location. I'm not sure about this one. As he's actually dropping, though, more nukes. Oh, I get it now. These nukes, I think, were mostly distractions, but it did not work to distract.
Inside
the
the main, inside the main, there was a huge drop, including a lot of bio, but these tanks as well. And he's actually done a ton of damage here. The drone's taken out. He's going to go ahead and fight yet again. It looks like the Vikings going up against the Corruptors. Nothing was really there to take out those tanks, however.
So let me get this straight. Ryung actually harassed with Vikings kiting against Corruptors while dropping a main base with siege tanks while nuking 2 different locations while nuking the natural as a fake. That's what just happened, guys.
That actually did just happen. Yeah, and he also got the nuke down on the defensive position for Stephano, so if he would have retreated and not taken out that Ghost, it would have been game over. And look at this, all the Corruptors about to go down. He must not have pulled them all back.
Oh, this is a tough position to be in now. He still has the Broodlords live, but they're not gonna be used because he doesn't have the Corruptor support he needs. He does, I mean, he lost a lot of infestors, and a lot of the infestors were EMP'd, but he was able to build so many. He had so many infestors out that he still has a decent amount of them to help protect his Broodlords. He's going to have good fungals here. He is getting +3 now for his Aryans. Here we go. This is a critical moment here. Will he commit? Actually, I feel almost as if he was a little bit too shy there. I think he could have fungled and taken a lot of those units out.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't think he had his infestors in position, and unfortunately, it's been kind of the story of this game for Stephano. He's had all these great opportunities, but positioning has prevented him from being able to do that. We have Ghost going in from the back. Is he caught? He is at least seen. He's trying to get rid of these Ghosts, but think about how much attention he's having to give to these Ghosts. He has a little bit of coverage on some of his base, but hold on. This army is moving forward, and I think he might go for it.
He might, man. There's so many infestors here. There are 9 in this group. A few EMPs will change that, but he does get 1 EMP off, which does hit 2 infestors, taking them out of energy completely. The Ghost is taken out as the Overseer morphs. This is a really, really scary army. for Stephano, but he's fighting now off creep far from home. If he messes this up, he's going to be in trouble. We do see a little bit of trading here with SCVs. He wants to get rid of those, and as a result, Stephano is actually ignoring them.
Yeah. However, he does not want to get stuck in a position where he has no path to retreat from. He'll have to do a ton of damage. And here we go. Not able to get any fungals off. The Vikings in a fantastic position.
Yeah, they
the
are.
first Broodlord is going to go down. And again, he's just trying to bait a lot of these infestors forward. Look at him bring just a little bit of that bio, and he's got to drop those fungals. He's not really doing too much. He's only attacking inside the base and getting a couple add-ons at this point in the game.
Unbelievable, though, is the positioning for Stephano here. He actually uses the infestors to keep this army away while he picks at the main base. How can Ryung engage this? He's going to do a drop in the main base now of Stephano, which will actually take out the Hive and the Macro Hatchery, but his positioning here at the Natural has been beautiful. He actually now has Zerlings wrecking the Natural, killing a lot of production, and it's impossible for Ryung to get over to defend that. He just cannot do it because of the infestors that are there, the Broodlords as well, and Stephano taking a significant supply lead here. Ryung, however, does have another mining base. He's been adding a ton of starports, and the reason for this is because a lot of the time in this late game TVZ scenario, especially against Stephano, this has happened several times, it goes into the air battle. He needs the Sky Terran, he needs Ravens, he needs Seeker missiles, and he's built the infrastructure for that now, but now he's lost his real main production, so it's going to be hard for him to justify going for that.
Might lose this Greater
Spire
as
it looks like he
well.
very well may.
It's going to be really close. Really close.
He's going to get it.
My
He gets
gosh.
it. I cannot believe it.
That will actually be, does the Queen even have, she had Transfuse available as well. And you know what? It's kind of odd because Stephano, like you mentioned, he wedged himself in between his opponent's main and his natural and his third. He could have sent in a bunch of Lings into that main and continued to do damage, but he brought everything back just to deal with that drop. He is going to go in yet again, but...
Yeah, Ryung is well split, though, as usual. He even has a planetary, he's wanting to make a planetary wall here. Drops a fungal on just a few units. A great trade here for Ryung, taking out a ton of Zerlings as well. The positioning here for Ryung is just so good, it's hard for Stephano to really commit to an attack. He's trying to do what he can with the Broodlords, with the he's slowly but steadily pushing his way through here. Will it be enough to continue the push, though? He's going to have to be, again, scared, though, of potential drop play while most of his units are out on the map.
Yeah, here they are. The Vikings really spread out quite nicely. He's going to go in for it. Lings going in around everything, and we are going to have a lot of these Lings clean everything up. Infested Terrans going down, fungals on top of the Vikings.
I think he's done it, I think he's breaking through. His Infested Terrans taking out the final Vikings. And it looks like the Broodlords will push through. It's 200 supply to 90 supply here. And Stephano taking a very strange game, a game where he looked behind in several ways, even without a Hive, without a Greater Spire. He's been able to keep his units alive so long. And he's taking this game.
Yeah.
He's actually absolutely going to win this game now.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, especially going after this third, a really, really smart decision. He didn't want to attack that planetary head on. He didn't really want to take it into the fifth as well, but going after the production and a lot of these SCVs here inside the third, awesome. And there it is, GG.
GG.
Another great game between these two.
That game was one of the most amazing games I've ever seen. At the end of the game, I was looking around the map and I saw a scan at all the external locations, and I was like, I could just see Ryung going, does he still have those bases? He scanned, and he was like, all right, GG, he has too much economy. Well, I want to hear your thoughts on this Apollo, yours as well, Toto Biscuit. Let's jump over to the analysis table for just a moment.
Dude, watching that game, all right, let me just explain what that game was. That could have been a final right there, that single map. That could have been a final. It was so high level, and to break it down, it was like Stephano was spread across the entire map, and Ryung was like, all right, knife to the wrist, and Stephano was like this all game long, and then eventually he like ripped the chains off his cage and just came flying through. And I think Stephano's patience, resilience to everything, Ryung, I think, just played like a perfect picture game.
He did.
But Stephano was equal to it.
Yeah, it was ridiculous to see Stephano come back from losing that fourth over and over and over again. Ryung pretty much did everything right when it come to pulling Stephano apart. We even saw Stephano actually taking damage from drops, which is not like him. Very uncharacteristic. But when you've got 2 drops plus 2 nukes plus a split push going on at the same time, you can't respond to all of that.
Yeah, you just can't, man.
I think that's so disheartening for Ryung too. Like playing that well and still losing. It's like, well, what the hell do I need to do to beat this guy? Because in game 1, you can say that, you know, Stephano made a mistake. He gave an opportunity to Ryung, he took. But in game number 2, Stephano just played amazing. It was absolutely beautiful to watch.
It was beautiful to watch, man. He always had the right composition at every moment. His units lost were uncharacteristically low for a Zerg player. He always kept his infestors alive after every engagement. He kept, and eventually, Ryung's harassment, he started just holding it every time. And then Ryung was losing too much. Then he didn't have control of the map anymore. That one move out where he actually stopped Ryung from defending his production facilities in the main, I think might have been the turning point because he could not produce anymore.
All right, we're going to be hopping to the next game. I also want to just say the use of the roach, just kind of the way he threw it in there, but knew when to promptly, okay, I need to stop making these roaches, focus on my bigger units in my army. Just really, really nice, nicely done. We're going on to ESV Cloud Kingdom next for the third and deciding game. And after that first game and watching Stephano kind of broken down a little bit, I thought maybe Ryung might take it 2-0, but I'm so happy that we got a split game. We're going to the rubber match.
Yeah, it was just so cool to see how that game played out through the later stages. We saw basically everything. I mean, we saw Ghost with Cloak using EMPs. Right. We saw Nuke play. We saw air control being a big contesting point at the end of the game. But siege tanks were always important. We saw someone get roach speed with 9 roaches, just 9 roaches. And he was like, I'm going to use these roaches. Yeah, he got the burrow as well. He even used the burrow later on to save his roaches. He kept them alive. I feel like the longevity, the lifespan of these units for Ryung were so high that it was so good that he didn't have to, he had enough resources even when he kept losing the base at the north. I remember looking at his money going, well, how does he have that much money? I can't even believe it. It's because he kept his units alive so long.
Well, we've got just a couple seconds here before we get started. So maybe actually shoot it back over to the analysis desk and I say Cloud Kingdom. These two guys played 2 remarkable games leading up to this one. Any thoughts on what you think might happen here in game number 3?
Run by City, man. Population Stephano. Very likely to happen on that map. We're going to play very nicely into his Ling Infestor style. See if Ryung can actually hold up and not take too much damage in the early game. Yeah,
it may be something. Cloud Kingdom, distances between the bases are relatively small compared to cross-position and Metropolis. And if you look at the way, and if Stephano's got a bit of time now, maybe he's looked at the replays, maybe he's like, this guy's going 1 barracks, double upgrades, 3rd command center both games. Can he really hold a push? That may be something Stephano may come across his mind if he's going to be aggressive. Maybe he'll try Roach, play something along those lines. But even if he plays a straight-up game again, I think he's more than confident to do so.
Yeah, there's no question. After watching that, it's unbelievably impressive. And the nice thing that Wolf pointed out actually was how does he have that much money? The way that he efficiently traded was exceptional. I noticed at one point he had 67 spare lava and a bank of 4K minerals. So he can play the long game if he needs to. As to whether or not we'll get a game of that length on a map like Cloud Kingdom, maybe not so much.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Well, we are ready to get into the game.
We got the word. I am so ready here. Game 3, Stephano versus Ryung. Now, Ryung's got that pensive look on his face after losing that game, and I'm kind of with the Paul, like, what do I do? The Ghost play, while great, was shut down rather easily by Stephano with 3 Spine Crawlers and an Overseer. And I felt like the Ghost didn't quite see